Hello everyone, it's Helen from Journaling Planet, wishing you a very Merry Christmas and bringing a little bit of a festive upcycling project to you in case you are stuffed with turkey and Yorkshire pudding and potato and gravy, or a vegetarian alternative, just in case you're stuffed and you can't move. And so the only thing that you can do right now is to sit and watch somebody else do a crafting project. So years ago, I bought these little jingle bells from a craft store, and they came in the most ridiculously large bag. And I've been using them every Christmas for different projects ever since. And this year I thought that what I would do is create some jingle tags. And I also have this this bag that could become a jingle bag. I mean, I really think that you could do that with any of them, but it's not a very complicated process, but I just thought it was a bit of fun for Christmas Day, and I'll show you a few different things that you can do. So the easiest way of making these tags is to, this is obviously sacrilege to talk about on Christmas Day itself, but to chop up Christmas cards, perhaps some old Christmas cards that you've been hoarding if you can't bring yourself to chop this year's up just yet. As you can see from this, I chopped this one almost sort of in half to make two different tag shapes, sort of rectangular tag shapes. And I've done that with a few different things. So I thought I would show a couple of those first. But my idea is really just to cut it into a tag shape, top it with some ribbon and bells, and then do maybe an embellishment or two, or some mark making. I think that the back is fine as it is, just kind of perfectly fine for writing on. So these could either be used as gift tags. They could be used in a Christmas junk journal. I just think it's a fun, cute idea, and the bells add the bells. Quasimodo, yeah, get the reference. They add a little bit more of a sensory aspect to it. So, how we're always talking about texture. Well, this is a bit of sound, putting a bit of sound into our junk journals or into our gift wrapping, depending on what you're using it for. So I'm just cutting the corners off this piece of card, creating the sort of tag shape. These little bits here will go into a Christmas collage, bag that I will use to create Christmas cards next year. So that's what we've got so far, and I think it looks really cute as it is. But I am going to bring in my trusty little bunny one hole punch. I found it in my Christmas stash when I opened it. I usually use a silver one. Those of you who watch the channel regularly will know that I have a silver hole punch, but I found my little bunny, so I'm going to use him. And then it's just a matter of selecting some ribbon that I think will go with these colour schemes, or will otherwise give a kind of Christmassy feel. Now, some of this that I've got sitting here is left over from presents I've been given in previous years. Some of it has definitely been thrift shop purchases, if I can even say it. I haven't been on the brandy, honest. I remember getting a big bag of ribbon, and this was one of the ribbons in it, and I thought, my God, that is gorgeous and going to be perfect for Christmas projects. This one, similar story. These are possibly a bit thick. I could cut them in half, of course, but I maybe won't be using these ones for this project when I've got other ribbons sitting here. I think the only one that I bought specifically for Christmas projects, brand new really, is this one. The other ribbons that I have are from old gifts that I've wrapped where I've had a bit of ribbon left over. So this is the only one where I've actually gone out to a haberdashery store and bought some. So I think since I made a special effort to buy it, and in the interests of using my stash and not just kind of buying things and then letting them sit there, I'm going to try with this one. Just first, before I do anything else, going to check that I can get this through the sort of little holes that sit at the back of the bells. I'm going to refrain from doing the Quasimodo impression again. You can hopefully see that. So I need to check that go through this. So what I'm going to do is just trim, first of all, the sort of triangle off this. And just check, is it going to push through relatively easily? Answer. This is the kind of thing where you think, yes, it was a nice idea in your head, but logistically speaking, oh no, it will go through. Okay, with a bit of coaxing, it will go through. So if you get some of these bells for yourself, it's worth just checking that you know, when you're using it, that you can get whatever ribbon you're choosing through. That's so, okay, well now I know they fit, I can cut a length of it off. I need to leave enough to be able to tie a little knot around the bells at the end, although I don't really think they're going to come off too easily. I think a knot is necessary. So let's cut sort of that amount, should be fine. This is just a guess. No idea if it will actually work out that well, and if it doesn't, I'll have to use different ribbon or cut some more of this one and use this ribbon for a different project. So I'll just coax this other one through just to check. Yeah, no, it just come through. Okay, so before I do that, I need to push it through the hole in the card. Otherwise the bells will get in the way of it going through the hole in the card. I think I'll go through double actually. I'm going to have to take this off, but it was worth checking still. So fold it in half, go through the hole in the card. That's why I needed such a long length, because I sort of subconsciously knew that I would end up folding this in half. And then tucking it gently just to pull it tight. Might need a bit of coaxing if it's thick ribbon like this one is, just to get it into place. Don't be afraid to just manipulate the ribbon as you need to. You don't need to pull it all in one big go. Just gently manipulate it into place so you don't tear out your hole. You can use eyelets. I don't use them very often. I thought I would, but to be honest with you, there's so much going on with tags by the time you finish with them that I just feel like an eyelet isn't always particularly necessary. But if you like them, of course, you should use them. If you feel it just gives that little something extra, and I think it does just give a little something extra to the punch hole. Okay, we're going to try and manipulate this through again. I might speed this bit up this time. Okay, so what I've done is I've fed them through. I've tied a little knot in one. I'm just going to show you on camera, very easy. I've got the bell where I want it. Just going to tie a little knot in the ribbon. And I want them quite long and dangly so that they can jingle. That is real shaky cam going on there, but you get the impression. So they've got a little bit of a sound to them. So obviously there's lots of other things that I could do with this tag as it stands. I could do some more embellishments. It is a nice tag as it is. I'm not totally sure that I need to, but I think one thing I will just quickly do, because why not, is I will just spatter a bit of gold paint on there. And I will use this bag as a background to splatter on, so that will pick up a little bit of the gold paint as well. And then if I want to embellish that bag later, I can do that. I'm using my favourite classic gold liquid metal. Hopefully you can see that. I'm holding it in camera, holding it in shot. Oh, it just about will focus. There we go. It's just one of my favourite paints, just love it. So I'm just going to get a little bit of water on my brush, dip it in, and hope for the best when I do the spattering. Oh yes, that's coming out lovely. I will need to, however, clean my mat immediately with a rag. I could really go to town on this and do gold and silver spatters and white spatters like snow. But to be honest, I think just a little bit of tasteful spattering is perfectly fine. So the bag has picked up a lot of that too. I'm just going to put the lid back on that and wipe down my surface. And that is looking really lovely. I'm going to set it aside to dry. And it's got the lovely jingle that goes with it. So that is the easiest way, I would say, of making one of these jingle tags, is to just use a lovely piece of, say, old card that you have, an old Christmas card, and then take it from there. But of course there are other options. If you have something like this, an old piece of scrap paper that's got like candy stripes on it, of course you can probably already see the potential of this to make a similar product. So let me just cut down something that could be used. Okay, so we've got our basic tags shape, and now the question is just what embellishment should I put in the middle? I could go for something a bit abstract and just, for example, put a single piece of ribbon across the middle like that. And actually, I'm very tempted to do that, but I'll just look at a couple of other possibilities. I could also draw something in gold or silver. I've got these wonderful gold and silver pens. I think what I will do, just to sort of demonstrate how it looks, is I'm just going to do an outline around the tag in gold as if it was stitching. And you'll see the kind of marks it makes on this kind of paper when I hold it up. That's how the gold looks. If you don't have gold, black would have worked just as well. I just happen to be lucky enough to have a gold pen. You can use literally any gold pen. I just really like this one. It's a Staedtler metallic pen in gold. So similar things are going to play. So we're going to do, so I could have drawn something there. I have various stamps. This one's really cute, and I can imagine that making a really nice impression on the paper. Maybe I could stamp it in green for that real Christmas vibe, and I think that is actually what I'm going to go with and what I'm going to do. One of my best tools is you know, ink stamps and the ink that comes with it. I really enjoy using it. I can use it multiple times. Ink pads last so long, so they're not just like stickers where they use once and destroy. So I need to get lots of ink on this because I know this stamp is quite prone to not fully coming out, and I really want it to look as good as possible. If, by the way, you ever make an impression on your scrap paper and you do it on the project, it doesn't come out, you can just cover it with another piece of paper, stamp onto another piece of paper, and cover it over with the piece of paper you've stamped on. So if the stamping goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. She says, crossing her fingers that this will come out nicely. Come on. Mama wants a nice imprint. Thank you. Wow, that is gorgeous. So beautiful and a little bit different. So I've just inked around the edges with a red ink. It is just a standard red ink that I've bought from a stamp shop, Make Your Mark, in York. It's a shop, and it's Colourmine ink. Okay, so I've just inked around the edges with that just to make those pop a little bit more. I'd still like to put a couple more things on this. So I do have some Christmas themed washi tape, which of course I could use, but since this is a slightly more unusual stamp, I want to go for some slightly more unusual things on it. So I have this washi tape that is kind of got gold motifs on it, and it is kind of postage stamps. And I think we always think of postage when we think of Christmas because, you know, we're sending parcels to people that we love. I don't really want to go over the stamp too much that I've made. So I may actually tear in the middle, controversially, in the middle of one of these postage stamps, like so. That's it. Okay, so that's one other embellishment, and I'd like to also, I got this wax and this seal for 50p from a thrift store, and the sentiment is just Merry Christmas. I'm not sure if, yeah, we'll just about focus on that. I'm not sure how this is going to go, so I'll speed it up. I usually use wax with a wick, so we'll see how quickly it melts. That wax has come out so lovely. I've just put a few little washi stickers that I had left over from some stickers I was gifted from my auntie. I put those in there. I do have a little gap here, which I'm not sure about whether or not I should fill. Maybe it looks a little bit empty if I don't. So maybe I'll just experiment a little bit with a couple of things. I will speed up the process so that you're not watching it in real time, just as I decide what I could put in that slot. Okay, a little bit of rearranging there, but I'm happier with that now. You know, sometimes it's just a matter of pulling things up, and that is the beauty of washi tape and rearranging a little bit. I really like how that's coming out, and I think that the ribbon at the top will be just the nice topper. I'm going to go for some really traditional bright red ribbon that was left over from some Christmas wrapping I did a few years back. I think actually this one might have come, I think my sister might have wrapped some presents with this one, and I just kept the ribbon. So I have used red ribbon myself in wrapping before, but I think this one actually was from my sister. And I'm going to do a video on my Christmas haul when I've got it, probably in the new year. I love playing with Christmas things in January when the festive season is over, and sort of repurposing things and considering how I'll use them next year for next Christmas. I think it's nice to look forward like that, and it's also nice to have a purpose for the things that would otherwise get thrown away. So you know, that's really what this channel is all about. So just like with the other thread, the other ribbon, sorry, it is going to take a little bit of manipulation to get this where I want it to go, because it's quite a thick ribbon. That's okay, I don't stress about it, just pull the ribbon into place. Trim off this excess washi that's poking out the back here. Now that I've rearranged things, and then it's just a matter of getting the jingle bells on them. I'm calling that one done. It's so cute, really, really cute. So that's another option. So using scrapbook paper. If you don't have scrapbook paper and you're doing it at a time of year when you've already, you know, thrown out your Christmas cards, oh gosh, it kills me to think that some people might do that. I guess some people do just chuck them in the recycling. You could use some music paper. I happen to have some music paper here because I was using it for my Christmas cards. And I will at some point, probably next year, to next year's Christmas, share a little video I made ahead of next year's Christmas so that you can do the tutorial. But I used some Christmas Carol paper in that project, and I have this left over. So what I'm going to do is, you can use any music paper. It doesn't have to be Christmas music paper. That's just a nice symmetry. That's just lucky that I have this. I did tea dye it, but again, you could just use music paper and then put some distressing around it, because honestly, tea dyeing, it's an endeavour. It takes a lot of space. I like to do it on boiling hot days boiling hot still days so I can put all the sheets out on the washing line. Okay, I'm going to have 3 jingle tags. So that's going to work well. We're going to chop the corners of these. Okay, this one's quite cute. It has the lyrics in the back. These are the 2 have white space to write on, so those are particularly good for functionality. This one has writing on it, but there are a few gaps where you could write something, or you could write a little something in here, or you could cover it over, but I'm going to keep it just as it is to keep the thickness of it down. And now I'm going to think about what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 3 different things. First of all, I'm going to do what I said I would do on the other one. Is I'm just going to put a piece of ribbon across. That's going to be the full embellishment. That's going to be it, apart from a bit of ink around the edges. The ribbon at the top, that's my tag. I do sometimes like to keep these things as simple as possible, because otherwise I think you never get to the end of a project. And I do think that the people on YouTube who, you know, keep adding and adding and adding are amazing. But the truth is that I only have so much crafting time in a week, so I can't really spend it adding and adding and adding to one tag, because I'll be there all year. Could not get the cap off this glue. I'm just using standard kind of white clear glue for this, sorry. I have used fabric glue in the past, but I found that it is a bit hit and miss. So I'm just going to place this down and hope that it grabs. And if there are places where it doesn't, I will come back and add yet more glue to make it grab the surface that I want to stick to. There's a little wire in this that's not really conducive to it sticking down. So I've pulled it out of one side, and I probably will pull it out of this side as well, since I don't need to manipulate the wire into a particular shape. Like if I was making a specifically ornate bow, then that wire helps me to do that. But I'm not doing that. I'm just gluing a flat piece of ribbon down on a piece of paper, so I don't need to keep hold of the wire. Okay, now the glue has seeped through there, and it will hopefully adhere. So there's that. Just going to set that to one side and give it some time to set. And the other thing that I thought I would do was just take this old piece of kind of craft supply. It's a little wooden block that's shaped like a star, and I thought I would literally dip it in some well, there's a couple of things I could do. I could draw around it with my silver pen, very carefully draw around it, create a motif. So this isn't, if you haven't got you know, paints and things, but you have got a gel pen or a marker pen, and you've got a shape you can cut out to work around, you can do it like this. And it's quite subtle, but I really like it. So I'm going to do a couple more. So that's what it looks like with just the silver stars drawn around. But if I wanted to, and I do want to, I could then stamp in some different places using some paint. Just roll out my trusty X dough balls box. That was once housed dough balls, garlic dough balls, but now is a paint palette for me. Just going to put a tiny bit of paint in here, and then I'm just going to dip this in here, get one side coated right to the edges. It's going to be messy on my fingers. That's the way life is sometimes. Maybe get a bit of the excess off with a brush, just so it doesn't splurge everywhere when I press it down. It may do that anyway. You know, life works out that way sometimes. So let's move this to one side. Let's see how we get on with this. So just random, really. I really like how that's turned out. That's so cool. So it's more of a sort of abstract print than anything else. Just get what's left onto there. You don't have to use a star. You can use anything. You could use circles. You can stamp with anything. You don't need something special. Might just give a little bit of a flick of the brush with what paint is left on it. So it's sort of like, it's stardust, I've decided. And of course I'll need to let that dry before I can put the topper on it. So we'll just let that dry to one side for a moment whilst I do the third and slightly less messy music tag. I'm going to just put this down here, even though there's probably paint on here. It's totally fine. I will give it a quick wipe, but if a bit of gold gets on the back, it doesn't matter because it's a Christmas tag, so it's supposed to be gold. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this is I have had these things sitting in my stash for I don't know how long. Bought them from a craft store or a sort of a store that sells crafty things. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a specialist shop, called Tiger in the UK. And I'm just basically going to put this sparkly bird and hand in the middle of this tag. And well, that's actually a bit big, as luck would have it. Maybe this one's a bit more portrait, and so it would work a little bit better, although I prefer that for Christmas, really. Maybe I can just squeeze that one on. What about that one? That one? That one. That one works. Okay. Trial and error. You gotta love it. This kind of embellishment, I always distress the edge just to give it a little bit more of a vintage feel, and to get rid of some of the whiteness that sort of, you know, hangs around when you cut it out of a piece of paper like this. Get the distress vintage photo out, just go around the edge, just to get rid of some of the edges. I don't want the birds themselves to be brown. They are white doves. I want them to remain white doves, but the edges of this can definitely be distressed to give it that more vintage feel. That's going to go in the middle there. I might just put down a little bit of washi tape behind it, just to to give it a little something, you know, just a little bit of something different, and make it feel a little bit more like it's not just sitting on its own in the vastness of all that white paper, in the vastness of all that music paper. So that is looking really super cute now, and it sounds cute as well. The last thing I'm going to do is, I've pulled out some of that paint before I poured it out into my palette, so you know, I don't want to waste anything. So we'll get a lot of gold splashes going on here, including over the lovely wax. And that's it really for that one. That one is, we're going to call that done. I love all the different textures and things going on in that. It's so cute. Okay, last one. Let's go for some book page. I am going to make the jingle bag at the end, but I'm just going to, this is going to be the last tag that I make. So it's quite flimsy. So you may or may not want to double this up or glue it down to some other piece of cardstock. Let's have a look. What have I got sitting here? I have got this old postcard that's kind of got a special delivery theme to it, but I could just cover that. I could use this as a base and just cover this over with book page. Now this is actually a tea-dyed page from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, again because I'm using them in a Christmas card project, but I don't really see that you need to do that. You could just use any book page. Again, I've been fortunate in that I have these things in because I've been doing Christmas projects with them. It's all reclaimed materials. I went onto a website called World of Books, and I looked for their well-read copy of A Christmas Carol, and I looked for a well-read book of Christmas carols, and I bought those so that I could use them for crafting. And well-read means that the condition of the books is not so great. It's not something you could really give as a Christmas present, for example. So I reclaimed those materials and used them in my crafts. So the nice thing about using this little postcard is that the back will have a lovely place to write. That already looks pretty cool like that. I have a distinct feeling that I'm going to end up using wax again on this. And I think I'm just going to go for a standard stamp again. I have a few different ones in my stash, but I particularly like this double-decker bus that has the words Merry Christmas written on it. So I think I'm going to try going for my red ink this time. We shall see how this comes out. We'll get it as inked up as we can. Look at the state of this stamp on the back. That is disgraceful. How many Christmases I've used this, I couldn't tell you. And that was before I got into junk journaling and got obsessed with stamping. So let's see how this comes out. I hope there's enough ink on it. Let's have a go. Oh yeah, that's come out well. I really like that. Okay, so that's a really lovely imprint. And this is a bit broader, so I might put some other embellishments in other places. Let me just get rid of that. Okay. Might put some embellishments in the places. So first of all, let's just trim our corners so we know the width that we're actually working with at the top. So I do think as soon as you start putting on the the hole and the corners, it just starts to look like a something instead of a nothing. And then when you ink around the edges, I think the same is true. So let's have a think about some other things that I could put on here. I do want to put some washi tape on. I do want to put probably some wax on. So, oh, wax on, wax off. Another movie reference for you there. I used to edit a film magazine, so it's really difficult. Oh, that was a long time ago. But it's really difficult for me to get these things out of my head. If I hear a movie quote, it just takes me back to my film magazine editing days, and I sort of have to pass comment on it. It's why I'm such a big fan of the TV series Gilmore Girls, because there's so many, well, it's not the only reason, but there's so many references in there, film references in those scripts. They make me giggle, and it's nice to think that someone else is obsessed with movies as I am out there. Okay, so a little bit of washi either side. I could do with another kind of washi there, not just that one. I want to go for a slightly different one to the ones I picked before. I'm going to pick this red that hopefully complements the stamp that I used. Again, I just feel like washi is a bit too thick. I always tear it because I just feel like on its own it's just a bit too thick. I don't do that with absolutely every piece of washi, but with a lot of them I do. Okay. So that's not rocket science, is it? It's just putting a couple of pieces of washi in each corner. And now I'm going to do the inking, not the inking, the other one, the waxing, and then the inking. So this time I think I'm actually going to strategically place the wax at the end of this washi tape here. Okay, we're starting to get there. Again, I'm going to use a different kind of ribbon for this. I'm just wondering which one I should use. I've got a few different ones sitting here. Maybe just go with this thinner red one this time. These decisions are pretty arbitrary. I mean, I'm just working with Christmas colours, you know, red, green, purple, gold, silver. I mean, if you stick to that palette, there's very little you can do to go wrong. Just put that through there. That's so cute. And now I'm just going to put on the bells, spatter it with paint, and that'll be a job done. Okay, that is done. And it looks so cute. It's just something a bit different. It sounds great too. So that's that. And then, okay, yeah, the last thing that I wanted to do was the Jingle bag. So let's take a look at this. This is a red bag that has been now splashed with gold paint. And my idea was to essentially use the jingles as a closure. If I'd been smart, I would have put the gold splats on this side, but I didn't realise, so I haven't. So what I'm going to do is fold this down a bit further. I'm going to trim the brown bits off so they're not visible on this side. Just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Okay. And what I'm going to do is pull this down. I'm going to punch a hole through it, just like I would a tag. Oh, is this little bunny going to go through? Might have needed my other punch. Come on, you can do it, little bunny. Come on, give it a go. That's the stuff. See, I told you you could do it. Okay, I could have just used my other punch, but it's way over there, you know, right, way over there. Now, ultimately, I'm going to put some bells through that. But what I was thinking is just, since I have this sitting here, I'm going to put some of that on. I'm going to put some wax on. I'm going to put some washi tape on. And I think, you know, I really want to use a little bit of this beautiful ribbon that I got from the thrift store, but I think I might end up using that to put the bells on. I think that's what's going to happen there. Even though it's quite thick, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to stick with the gold paint background, this embellishment, which I'm going to put some distress ink on. I'm going to go around with some washi tape and embellish a little bit, and then put the wax on, and that'll be job done. Oh my, I think this might be the fairest one of all. Absolutely love how this has turned out. So majorly cute, and you could put so many different things in this bag, and it would already be an exciting gift just because of the way it was presented. Arguably you could spend a little bit more time getting the bow straight, but you know, with bows you can be there for the rest of time. Anyway, I think it looks cute. Let's put everything together. I'll top the ones that have dried after being paint splattered, and we'll see everything that we've got all together. Okay, you may remember this. This was book page. Old Christmas card, very handy. Music paper, we have a few of these. Scrapbook paper. And an old paper bag for a jingle bag. I don't even know how long I've been holding this paper bag, an insane amount of time. But this Christmas, it's going to get given out. Somebody is going to get a present or a little something in this jingle bag. And I'm looking forward to seeing the look on their faces when they see it. I hope this has been a lovely Christmassy video for you to watch, whether you're watching on Christmas Day 2022 or at some later date as you're planning some Christmas junk journaling and gift giving. I wish you a merry time when it all swings around. I'll see you next time.